Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 4. I am Janice Cobham coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari reacts to death of General Wali. Supreme Court restrains CBN from implementing deadline for old Naira notes validity. Plus, death toll in Turkey, Syria quake rises above 9,500. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Thanks for joining us. First in the news this afternoon is a report that President Muhammadu Buhari has reacted to the death of Major General Suleiman Issa Wali, retired. Buhari described the late Wali as a very nice gentleman, a calm and dedicated officer who rendered his valuable service to the people of Nigeria in various capacities in the Nigerian army. In a message to the sister of the deceased and his special advisor on social investment, Mariam Uwais, the Wali dynasty and the government and people of Kano State, President Buhari said the late Wali dedicated his entire life to the army, for which he should not be forgotten. This was disclosed in a statement issued by Buhari's media aide, Garba Shehu, today. Buhari, however, prayed Almighty God to grant eternal peace to the departed soul and bestow strength to the bereaved family members to bear the irreparable loss. In another development, the federal government says that it plans to launch a new policy for public finance management to generate revenue and manage its rising expenditures. The policy, referred to as the bottom-up cash planning policy, will be launched on February 10th for effective tracking of government spending. The acting accountant general of the Federation, Silva Okoliebo, disclosed this in Abuja at the training program on bottom-up cash planning policy for accountants of various ministries, departments and agencies. According to him, shortly after the pilot rollout of the Government Integrated Financial Management Information System alongside the Treasury Single Account in April 2012, the process of implementing an efficient cash management system commenced. Meanwhile, the federal government has declared Funtua Inland Dry Port in Katsina State as a port of origin and final destination for the import and export of cargoes, which will help promote international trade. According to a statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Ministry of Transportation, Henshaw Ogubike, the declaration, which was made on behalf of the federal government by the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, was coming many years after the establishment of the Funtua Inland Dry Port. Sambo explained that the Funtua Inland Dry Port will be a customs port in accordance with the provisions of the Custom and Excise Management Act, CAP C-45 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 and will have all the prerequisites of an international port. He said that the importance of Katsina State as the commercial domain in the trans-Saharan trade routes with huge agricultural produce and trade in local and export volumes qualify the state for an inland dry port.
Now, the importance of Katsina State as the commercial domain in the trans-Saharan trade route with huge agricultural trade in local and export volumes is well known and well documented. The state has been ranked in agricultural products and in other businesses in the country, such as the largest producer of cotton, second largest producer of sorghum, and the state also produces about 13% of Nigeria's sugar cane, placing it second place in Nigeria.
Moving away from that now, the Digital Cooperation Organization DCO and the International Organization to Promote Digital Prosperity for All has called for an open collaboration among nations to bridge digital divide. In a statement, the organization gave the ministerial declaration at its second General Assembly in Riyadh. The statement called for an increased international dialogue to identify and promote successful approaches and impactful initiatives that will empower nations to create sustainable, inclusive and equitable growth of the digital economy. The DCO also called for international cooperation to coordinate efforts and develop sustainable solutions that were specifically tailored to address four major concerns such as policies and regulations, micro, small and medium enterprise digitalization, digital skills and education, and digital transformation. On Naira crisis, the Supreme Court of Nigeria has restrained the federal government from implementing the February 10 deadline of the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes to stop being legal tender. Recall that the three northern states, Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara, had an motion ex parte filed on February 3rd prayed the apex courts to halt the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Naira redesign policy. A seven-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice John Okoro, in a unanimous ruling, granted an interim injunction restraining the federal government, CBN, commercial banks, among others, from implementing the February 10 deadline for the old Naira notes to stop being legal tender. The court further held that the federal government, CBN, commercial banks must not continue with the deadline pending the determination of a notice in respect of the issue of February 15th. On electoral matters now, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, has briefed the Federal Executive Council chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House, Abuja. The President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, said that the briefing is on the Commission's readiness for the nationwide exercise. Recall that Yakubu had met with the National Security Advisor, Babagana Mungonu, and the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, where he expressed concerns over the current cash crunch. According to reports, the INEC chairman is expected to appear before the Council of State meeting on Friday, alongside the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, to discuss the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections, as well as the March 11 governorship and State House of Assemblies poll. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, said that the February 25 and March 11 election will hold despite the fuel scarcity and the limited availability of Naira notes nationwide. Yakubu revealed this after briefing President Muhammadu Buhari and other members of the Federal Executive Council at the State House, Abuja. He said the Commission had settled the two major possible obstacles to its operations: fuel scarcity and the scarcity of Naira notes. In the meantime, the European Union Election Observation Mission has promised to deploy 100 observers across Nigeria to monitor the forthcoming general elections in the country. The observers will include 7 members of the EU Parliament, election technology analysts who will be deployed for the first time by the mission, 9 media analysts, 5 social media analysts, legal analysts, political analysts, among others. According to the Union Mission team, part of the activities of the mission will include observing and assessing the impartiality and performance of the election administration, campaigns and financing, universal franchise afforded to voters, especially to women, youths and vulnerable groups, conduct of the media, including social media, the use of technology in the electoral process, and the results management system, among others. The team's media analyst Ntalace revealed that a statement of preliminary findings will be released by the mission's chief observer, Barry Andrews, at a press conference a day after the elections. And back here, residents of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State Capital, have lamented the unavailability of the redesigned Naira notes and charges from point-of-sales operators POS. They complain that most POS have closed down, while some have no new notes to pay due to the situation, adding that the few that have charge exorbitantly.
Just coming out from the bank, I went to get money. The crowd was too much and I didn't have any money on me. So coming out, I had to trek. I went to the POS, they didn't have, I've been to like 10 POS, there was no money anyway. And even the bank, they are still giving old notes. You get, so when you want to get something from these local people who don't understand how the system works, they will reject the money. They'll say they are looking for the new note, and the bank are not issuing the new note. And besides, you can't even get to the bank. The crowd there alone is too much. People are not able to get money. People said, like the people I met today, they said they've been here for the last 3 days, since Monday. They've not been able to get even 1,000. People are shedding tears. Like,
according to POS operators, the 10% of charges on every transaction is due to insufficient circulation of the redesigned Naira notes and the stress involved in obtaining them from the ATMs and banks. They disclosed that they obtain money from petrol stations and supermarkets, paying 10% for e-transactions.
To buy money now because there's no money.
From business center, now like supermarket, filling station like that.
People are doing a great job.
You have to buy the money. You still deposit the money for them.
Where are you going to? In Africa, Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki has traveled to Kenya for 2-day official visits. The 77-year-old rarely leaves Eritrea, a one-party state with a highly militarized society that has been diplomatically isolated in recent years. Eritrean Information Minister Yeman Gebre Meskel tweeted that the president was expected to hold talks with his Kenyan counterpart, William Ruto, in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. And still in Africa, Tunisian President Kais Saied announced that he has fired the country's foreign minister, Othman Jarandi. The president appointed Nabil Amar, Tunisia's ambassador to the European Union, to replace Jarandi. He did not give a reason for Jarandi's dismissal. Jarandi is the 4th minister to lose his position this year, with the trade, agriculture and education ministers having already been replaced. Saied carried out a series of measures in 2021 to enhance the power of the presidency at the expense of parliament and the judiciary. Meanwhile, Tunisia has reportedly joined the long list of countries that are sending aid to the quake-hit Turkey and Syria. According to reports, President Kais Saied had ordered humanitarian aid for countries, including over 15 tons of blankets and food after they were hit by a 7.8 magnitude earthquake, which killed and injured thousands of people. Dozens of nations, including the United States, China, and the Gulf states, have pledged to help, and search teams as well as relief supplies have begun to arrive the countries by air. On the foreign scene now, more than 9,500 people are reportedly killed in Turkey and Syria following the earthquake. According to the country's disaster agency, the number of people killed in Turkey has risen to 6,957. Syrian state media and the rescue group says more than 2,557 people have died in the country. Senior emergency advisor for Syria, Melinda Young, says getting aid into the country's north is very difficult at the moment. Young says many roads are damaged, especially at the main border crossing, making it more difficult to get aid supplies sent across from Turkey to organizations working in Syria. She noted that many water systems in the area are also damaged, adding that the situation is particularly difficult for the children who had gone through years of conflict, with many displaced during the period. Still to come in the news, Igalo gets 122 million naira as Saudi Al Hilal reach club's World Cup final. To stay with us. Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigeria. From issues on politics,
hello Nigeria, I remain committed.
Security, education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Many thanks for still being there. Now to the rest of our stories. In business, the stock market suffered 37 billion naira decline yesterday following a 6-day successive bullish run on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Limited after profit-taking activity. The oil share index slumped by 67.98 absolute points, representing a decrease of 0.13% to close at 54.299.76 points. Similarly, the overall market capitalization value lost 37 billion naira to close at 29.576 trillion naira. Still in business, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has called for the extension of the February 10 deadline for cash swap. The international monetary body made the call a few minutes after the Supreme Court restrained the federal government and Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) from enforcing the deadline. The IMF, in a statement in Abuja today by Laraba Bonnet, hinged its plea on the hardship Nigerians were going through. We move now to health, where the Minister of Health, Dr. Sage Hanire, has said that Nigeria's participation in the pandemic treaty would strengthen her healthcare system as well as build resistance against pandemics. Hanire stated this during a high-level meeting on Nigeria's engagement on the pandemic treaty and IHR amendment in Abuja. The minister said the rapid spread of COVID-19 had shown that global health threats cannot be contained by one country alone, and that international cooperation was essential to prevent and respond to pandemics. Hanire said that Nigeria's pandemic treaty participation had many benefits, adding that the country can adapt the treaty's provision to suit her needs as well as protect the citizens against pandemics. In the meantime, the Director General of the World Health Organization, WHO, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, has said that continued aftershocks, severe winter conditions and damage to roads, power supplies, communication and other infrastructure have continued to hamper access and other search and rescue efforts in Turkey and Syria. Dr. Ghebreyesus, who said this at the 152nd session of the Executive Board on the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, noted that the organization is dispatching 3 chartered flights to both countries with medical supplies, including major surgical trauma kits. Recall that a 7.8 magnitude earthquake devastated Turkey and Syria, leaving over an estimated 9,000 people dead and thousands injured. The earthquake is said to be the largest and deadliest one to hit Turkey in decades. We move to sports now, where Nigeria's Flying Eagles will take on neighbors Benin Republic and South Sudan in friendlies ahead of the 2023 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. The 2 warm-up games will hold in Morocco. Ladan Bosa's side is expected to fly to Morocco via Accra, Ghana today for a training tour ahead of the competition. Meanwhile, dates and venues for the 2 games are, however, still under discussions. And still in sports, Bayern Munich today confirmed the appointment of Michael Rechner as their new first-team goalkeeping coach. Bayern Munich had been without a member of staff in that role since sacking Toni Tapalovic in January after it was discovered that he had leaked internal chats to players. Meanwhile, the Bundesliga champions had organized a thorough search for a coach to succeed Tapalovic and have now reached an agreement with Rechner, 42, over the role. On entertainment news, Marvel superheroes began their return to China's massive movie market after an apparent ban of nearly 4 years, with fans streaming into cinemas to watch Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. The Disney-owned studio's hugely popular franchises have been absent from Chinese screens since 2019 with no explanation. Marvel blockbusters have ranked in billions globally, and their return to one of the world's biggest movie markets means millions of dollars in potential earnings for Disney. The first Black Panther film alone took in $105 million at Chinese cinemas. The end of the apparent block on Marvel films has coincided with China's losing of the strict zero-COVID policies that disrupted its entertainment industry for years. And still on entertainment, Afrobeat singer Temilade Thames of Penny has expressed delight over winning her first Grammy. The Tri-May singer also revealed in a Rolling Stone interview that working with American singers Future and Drake was a dream come true. Thames' performance in Future and Drake's hit song Wait For You earned her a Grammy in the Best Melodic Rap Performance category on Sunday night. In the interview, the singer says winning the Grammy was just the beginning for her. The 27-year-old, who collaborated with Future, Rihanna, Drake and Beyonce last year, was nominated for a number of awards including Album of the Year and Best Melodic Rap Performance for her work with Future. She also made a guest appearance on Beyonce's Renaissance, which was featured on the Renaissance album. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do well to follow us on all our social media handles and ensure to subscribe to your YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. My name is Janice Cobham. Do have a great day.